So we're going to do some self-care techniques right now that you are free to join in. Feel free to join in on these self-care techniques, and we do these and many other self-care techniques daily, on a daily basis. At the end of the workday, the last hour of the workday is supposed to be devoted to this refresh the energy body, our daily refresh, because otherwise things go from bad to worse very quickly.
That's true.
We have the right to live our lives in sacred space, but it is up to us to create it. So with that, today's refresh begins. And what do I know? I know that every day is unique and the needs of the situation are different every single day. Right now we have a classic case of clogging of the energy body, and we can begin by what we call a bifurcation, which is a process of activating the law of attraction and repulsion, aligning ourselves with those who are wishing to do, really wanting to do exactly what it is that we are supposed to be doing, so that we can be working with presences who want to do what the situation actually calls for. And we can start with that. All of us who really want to do what the situation actually calls for, to the search for true central axis, all others flung away. And what this is doing, it's like pushing ourselves off from a dock. We are the ones who move. The dock is not moving, but the sensation is of pushing the dock away. That is the action. So we're flinging away those who don't really want to do what the situation actually calls for. This just isn't their right place.
That's true.
We are pushing ourselves away from them through the multidimensional tunnel, the hole in the sky that has been poked through by lots of different efforts that are on our part of our ongoing efforts.
That's true.
All of us who really want to do what the situation actually calls for, to the search for truth central axis, all others flung away. Higher, higher, lower, lower. All of us who really want to do what the situation actually calls for, to the search for truth central axis, all others flung away. And someone very sad is explaining the limitations of this, because apparently some people, what we seem to be listening to is a teaching that's happening in another dimension, and some people are saying basically, I don't feel any difference.
I hear those people.
And he's saying, you have to remember that the limiting factor is your own willingness to do what the situation actually calls for. If you yourself are not willing to do what the situation actually calls for, you will not be able to create any sacred space for yourself with this action.
That's true.
It's not going to improve over you. We are the creators of our experience. We can push away those who want to do what the situation calls for less than we do, but not those who have an equal desire to do what the situation calls for.
That's true.
He's saying, does that make sense? The grumpy people are refusing to acknowledge it, but I do see heads nodding that they're not grumpy.
Nodding.
All of us who really want to do what the situation actually calls for, to the search for truth central axis, all others flung away. And now the spotlight is shining on the extreme lack of integrity in all the dimensions, and how there is literally an acceptance of strategies of lying, cheating, stealing, and bullying as a way to accomplish goals.
That's true.
And not just in the ground zero dimension, although it's certainly on full crazy display here,
That's true.
but in all the dimensions that are anywhere close to ground zero. And what does anywhere close mean? Somebody's asking. Maybe within 10,000 dimensions, a 4-digit dimension.
That's
Difference of 4 digits. That would be my guess.
Yeah.
Why do you ask? And also, are the dimensions above you still validating lying, cheating, stealing, and bullying as strategies for success? There's a looking up feeling.
That's true.
Let's screen up and out, each of us for ourselves, the willingness to lie, cheat, steal, and bully. And right away burn it with the intention of powering the dead children from the deeper, denser dimensions up higher in the race for heaven. In other words, a place where true love and truth are the predominant vibrations. And somebody's asking, what do I mean by true love? The definition that has been used for 27 years now for true love is that true love is calling the beloved into his or her greatness, calling the beloved into his or her destiny, into his or her soul plan. In other words, encouraging the beloved to do whatever it is that wise divine minds are or that higher powers, be they wise and divine or not, that higher powers above are telling that presence to do right now. And if what the higher powers above are saying to do sounds crazy, then we can veto it for safety reasons, but if we're wrong, we have to be willing to accept the bad karma. If we don't follow their directions, we have to have a darn good reason, and we can't just say, well, I don't think that's a good reason, and not do it, and not suffer a consequence. That is a violation of our soul contract. We are all supposed to follow the directions from above.
That's true.
With a good attitude. Follow the directions with a good attitude. Intend to excel. We screen up our own willingness to lie, cheat, steal, and bully, and burn it to power the children, the dead children of the deeper, denser dimensions who really want to get to heaven, straight up the search for truth central axis until they get to a place where actual truth prevails and actual true love prevails. And what do I mean by that? I mean that truth has to be at least more than 50%.
That's true.
More than 50% of the vibration needs to be truthful, or there's no truth prevailing.
That's true.
Let's just start with that, because there's big arguments on soul plans, which is unfortunate because that's a basic repetitive discussion. Says this teacher in that big room up there. That's still who's talking, as best I can tell.
That's true.
Let's pump up the dead children who really want to get to a place where truth prevails. How about this? Pump up the dead children who really want to get to a place where lying, cheating, stealing, and bullying are no longer acceptable. For real, somebody says, well, we're not supposed to lie. Oh, it would give lip service to not lying, cheating, stealing, and bullying, but if you pay attention to social norms, we are supposed to lie. If you don't want to accept a social invitation, what's the polite thing to do?
Make up a reason why you can't go.
Well, consider for yourselves, friends, is that true? What is the polite thing to do? Is it polite to be truthful? Or is it polite to make up a reason why you can't go?
There's much grumbling in the room upstairs where the question asker was.
And when it comes to cheating, let's talk. Oh, gracious. Now, look, you can knock our electronics to the floor if you want, but it doesn't change the truth.
That's true.
It doesn't change the truth. Cheating happens all the time. Look at how people don't go to work with the intention to really work hard every single minute of the 8-hour workday.
That's true.
They intend to show up and for the most part be on time or not be too late too many days.
Yeah.
And they intend to do something and not leave too early, or at least not leave too early too many days.
That's true.
But they really, for the most part, people don't intend to actually go in and do it like they mean it, do it like their hair's on fire, try to see how they can do it better. How can I do this better? So we can screen up and burn willingness to be mediocre.
That's true.
And tune to the intent to excel. We can screen up and burn those qualities we have which are not helping us fulfill our destinies.
That's true.
And we can tune to increase the presence of qualities that would be helpful, that we need more of. The karmic records which are at our backs, we can screen up everything that is not helpful. We can screen up our own suppressions of errors, our own ducking of responsibility, as well as the ducking of responsibility that comes in from larger, less dense dimensions, which we refer to as karmic dumping.
That's true.
And it's karmic dumping. Somebody's harassing the speaker. It's karmic dumping no matter what level is pushing it onto smaller levels.
That's
and
true.
when we pretend that something isn't our responsibility, we're karma dumping into ourselves, who are turning around and karma dumping into our molecules, who are turning around and karma dumping into our atoms, and so on down the chain. Why do you ask? And who above you is karma dumping into your experience of sentience? And now let's groom up these karmic records for the rescuers down under, those who are helping the deeper, denser dimensions, and for the broadcasters of inconvenient reality, those who are choosing to speak when they are under fire for doing so, and for these ground zero host lives as well. Screening the karmic records, grooming the karmic records, and burning the debris to power the dead children up to places where truth is the predominant vibration. Truth and true love are the predominant vibrations. And what do I know? I know that many people relate to true love as a negative. They don't like it. That somehow love has come to mean enabling. Among other things. And enabling is enabling. And that's not loving. It hurts everybody deeply.
That's true.
And why is that? Somebody's asking. There's a lot of harassment right now. Because we're all going to die. These experiences of sentience are all going to end. And on checkout date, we're held accountable to our soul plan. And enabling excuses don't fly.
That's true.
And then we're thrown into the pit of bad karma that we've created by not doing what we were born to do.
That's true.
And it's not loving to encourage people to not do what they said they would do. That's crazy. That's hurting them deeply.
That's true.
And it hurts ourselves deeply too. They're still going on and saying, well, what do you mean by the big argument?
Yeah.
It hurts us too, because now we are speaking mediocre thoughts.
That's true.
And we're infected by those thoughts. We're speaking them. So we screen up all enabling of ourselves and of others and burn it. And now we also work the life paths for the rescuers down under who are working in the deeper, denser dimensions. And for the broadcasters of inconvenient reality who are working in multiple dimensions.
That's true.
And for the ground zero host lives themselves. Finding the big lumps and drawing them into the past, and often those obstacles are self-created, mediocre thinking obstacles. Where we settle for, we say, oh, that's good enough.
That's good enough.
I know I said I would push that all the way across the road, and it's halfway across. Why, it'll probably roll off the rest of the pavement on its own.
Sure.
But we said we would push it all the way to the other side, and to not push it to the other side is to be a liar and a cheater, and to steal resources from spirit.
That's true.
And if we try to get somebody else to do our work for us, there's usually a little bit of bullying thrown in.
That's true.
We can tune our life paths to the pitch of our own soul plans, and tune our karmic records to the pitch of the soul plans, drawing up those deeper, denser dimension soul plans to manifest an actual divine plan based on actual sentiences in their actual dimensions in which they're actually experiencing sentience with their actual intentions and actual awarenesses. and use that to stabilize ourselves by creating a mast at our backs, the mast of the soul plan. And now we'll just start to wrap our energy bodies right now, wrap them from below. It's a stabilizing and sealing maneuver. And then look straight up the Search for Truth central axis and shoot this up with the intention to send it to somebody who really wants to craft an actual divine plan based on actual sentiences in the dimensions in which they're actually experiencing sentience with their actual intentions and actual awarenesses. It's very head opening.
It's very head opening.
Very quiet.
Moving fast.
As if through space. But it's not dark, it's
No,
light.
it's light.
Alright. It's moving fast. I say we call it a day. And with that, the formal refresh of today, Friday, July 7th, 2017, ends.